will move to nominate Howard Stevenson for president.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes. The motion carries. The next, thank you, thanks a lot. The next office is for the election of vice president. I will make a motion that we elect Emily Bowman as our vice president. Second. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes. The motion carries. Congratulations. Thanks for your service. The first matter on our agenda is PUD 21-24 Techman, Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. on behalf of Rebar TechWave LLC, and they're requesting consideration of architectural elevations for a renovated one-story, 8,310 square feet office building. The project is located within the Northeast Commerce Park PUD. The subject site is located on the north side of the intersection of Lantern Road, Technology Way, and Commercial Drive with a common address of 8933 Technology Drive. And we have staff member Ross Hillary who will present.
Thank you. Again, Ross Hillary, City of Fishers, Assistant Director of Planning and Zoning. Before you tonight, as Howard said, is PUD 21-24, which is the Techway building elevations. Like you said, the petitioner is Bill Butts of Kimley Horn and Associates on behalf of Rebar Techway. The scope of the project tonight is the requesting consideration of architecture elevations for a renovated one-story, 8,000 square foot office building. The current zoning of this area is PUDC, which is part of the Northeast Commerce Park. Existing land use for this project is a vacant office building. This is something that you guys saw before you at our January meeting. You guys gave some feedback to both staff and the petitioner to work on the existing building. I did want to highlight what was approved at the last meeting. So this is the site plan. It includes both the existing one-story, 8,000 square foot office building, as well as the proposed two-story, 14,870 square foot office building that will be adjacent to the nickel plate trail. The building that was approved has four-sided architecture, which includes a brick veneer, brick header, and brick soldier cornice on all sides. The windows have either a metal eyebrow, cast stone headers, brick headers, and or a metal sunshade. The base of the building is a cast stone water table, which we'll talk about further. The windows are all either single or double wide storefront glazed warehouse style windows, and all HVAC units are screened on the roof with a metal panel RTU screen. The parapet also includes a stepped brick band. As part of this project, will include a trailhead location along the nickel plate trail and signage that's prominently along Lantern Road. So tonight we are reviewing the existing building that's on the site. The petitioner took feedback, like I said earlier, from the committee from the January meeting and worked with staff on these new elevations. Petitioner would paint the existing brick a stone color similar to the proposed cast stone that I mentioned earlier for the 14,000 square foot building. They will repair the existing ephes and add some details in cornice. They will also paint the ephes the same stone color. So what I'm talking about is what appears to be white on the concept. We would also use the new brick that you'll see around all the entrances. It's the same brick that would be proposed for the two-story building. Like I said, at all entrances and the featured window facing Lantern Commercial. They would also use metal canopies, headers, and copy similar features to the other building. They would add an outdoor trellis patio that faces Technology Way, which you can see there. That vehicle would be on Technology Way, with also new rear doors and a blade sign on the corner, also similar in nature to the existing building that you already approved. This request does meet all applicable zoning requirements of the Northeast Commerce Park and is fitting with the intent of the Certified Technology Park. Staff has worked the petitioner through the TAC process and believes that they will continue to work with us. Staff does recommend approval. Petitioner is also here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? If not, we'll hear from the petitioner.
Thank you, Ross. Mr. President, members of the committee, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to present this tonight. Sean, I think, really allowed us the opportunity, challenged us to take a closer look, and I'm glad we did. You know, we were really focused on the new construction and maybe overlooked the attention to detail that I think we've achieved here. So hopefully, and then being able to do so within the budget, of course, was also always a challenge. And I believe that we've achieved that, and happy to answer any questions you may have about this design.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, Shelby, just real quick, it looks like they're squares. Are those offsets in the front face?
Yeah, they'd be inset or just an inset detail on the ephes when we come in and rescope and repair
Is there
it.
maybe a way to do an additional paint color there?
Sure, we can,
I'm just trying to give it some detail.
Yeah,
right? Give
we-
it some offset instead of just having that big white or whatever gray building, whatever it's gonna be when you guys finish it up.
yeah, I don't think
And I don't know
that'd be-
whether that'll get in the way of signage, because I think the signage is gonna be over the brick, right?
Correct, yeah.
So,
that-
yeah, I mean, I just think it may just add some, I don't know what the rest of the committee thinks, but I just like maybe the duality of colors there that kind of gives a little pop, because you're facing out to a prominent now intersection, you know, with the modern age of building, and you're looking off that way. I just think it may just give it a little extra, and hopefully the paint won't put you over budget, Shelby, so.
No, I agree. I think that'd be a good change.
Sean?
I actually think it looks okay without the paint change. I think with the paint change, it may get a little busy, so if there is a change, I think it's gonna have to be pretty minimal, so it doesn't look very busy, I guess. I do think that this is much improved on what you had before. I think the one view that showed what was the back of the building facing Technology Way, yeah, that one. I think the only comment I'd have there is it'd be nice if maybe there was, because you've got such a long mass of that kind of limestone painted, which I think is block now, right? Is that block currently? or
So
is
it's
that
half
ephes now?
brick and
Okay.
then changes to ephes.
Okay. If there was maybe you bring those metal canopies over those new punched openings or something like that, just
Oh,
to
yeah.
break up that side a little bit, I think.
Right.
Because it is so long and flat along there, and now it is pretty prominent on
You're
that
talking
side.
about this section?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
I do like the rest of the changes, though. I think that it does help tie it into the existing building, or the new building, I guess.
Yeah,
So-
great.
But yeah, definite improvement.
Okay.
Emily?
I love that this committee has similar opinions. I'm sorry, Pete, but I am gonna disagree with the change in color on the front. I actually like the clean look, but I definitely think that bringing that pergola, that canopy over even further, and it will really pull that back in together. And I don't know how feasible it is. Like I'm not in architecture or anything like that, but I do think that will really kind of bring it all together in the back. I like it a lot better. I do think this is absolutely one of the first things you see coming into this tech park, right? So I would have liked to have seen something a little more significant, but I think that it's much better than what we had before. So, yeah, that's my commentary.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, I would entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'm not married to making the color change. I just, whatever we think is gonna work. So I'll make a motion to approve with the stated items that Sean talked about on the rear of the building. I don't know if you can extend that canopy out any further. I think you're gonna get encroachment on the landscape is what I saw. Emily, I think that would look good, but I think we're gonna encroach on some of that, and I like the landscaping. So I think putting the overhangs or whatever you referred to canopies, maybe over there would be nice. So I'll make a motion to approve on that basis.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stevenson,
Yes.
Ms. Bowman,
Yes.
Mr. Curran,
Yes.
Mr. Peterson.
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shelby.
Next matter on the agenda is PUD-21-25, the Courtyards of Fishers PUD. Fager Drinker, on behalf of Epcon Communities, is requesting approval of the architecture and site design for a 50 single-family home development known as the Courtyards of Fishers PUD. The property is generally located northwest of the intersection of Southeastern Parkway and 113th Street. And we have the staff here. I don't think we have Jonah, we have Ross again.
Yes, Jonah is out today, so I'm taking his place for his 2 items. Thank you, President. Again, Ross Hillary, City of Fishers Planning and Zoning. Before you tonight is PUD 21-25, which is the courtyards of Fishers PUD. They are seeking architectural elevation and site design approval. Petitioner is Fager Drinker on behalf of EPCON. The scope of the project is the approval of a site plan and architecture for an age-targeted single-family subdivision. The project includes 50 lots on 22 acres. The current zoning is R2, and the existing land use is currently vacant. The location is located here along East 113th Street and Southeastern Parkway at 16000 East 113th Street. That's further location. Project overview, this is the site plan that you'll see here. You'll see a storm detention pond located along 113th Street. You'll see some right-of-way that will be dedicated to the City of Fishers as part of intersection improvements. You'll see one primary entrance into the subdivision along with emergency access provided along 113th Street. You'll also see a large wooded area that is located in the upper northwest corner that is largely in subflood plains. Something that's really unique about this particular project is they are utilizing their side yards much more than their backyards. So their backyard along with their front yard will be treated more as common area, will be maintained by the HOA. But the residents will be utilizing their side yards. Here are a couple of the unique features that were included in the PUD attachment. Again, you'll see a typical courtyard adjacent to open space and how they're utilizing those side yards, which is different than most subdivisions. We are approving some elevations tonight. Staff does believe that these do meet all minimum requirements set forth in the UDO as part of that PUD. So the elevations tonight that you are approving are Promenade 3, which has 6 different elevations. You'll see here that the majority of the front porches and all of these are further to or closer to the road than the garage, which is one standard that we enjoyed. The portico elevation as well, 5 elevations there. And Palazzo, there are 8 elevations there, all a little different, but all included under that same elevation. Architectural features to note include reverse gable, varied cornice, corner molding, very decorative entryways, multiple roof planes, decorative window casings, and roofline brackets. One thing I did want to highlight, like I said before, is the use of those side yards, which does require this typically to be a PUD and is not very easy for it to go into our regular zoning code. With that, staff does recommend approval of PUD 21-25 as presented. Petitioner is also here to answer any questions.
Thanks, Ross. We'll hear from the petitioner now.
Thank you, Ross. Good evening. I'm not sure what's your title at the PUD committee? The chairman of the president of the committee, just like in the planning commission. Good evening. Pardon me? You left for the election. I should have been paying attention to that. I apologize. I beg your forgiveness. For the record, my name is Steve Harden. I'm a partner in the law firm of Fager Drinker, resident here in the city of Fishers. I'm pleased to be representing EPCON Communities on this project. Brooks Longfellow is here with me as well. So he's coming to the podium in case you have any questions on the architecture. As Ross mentioned, this is a little unusual for Fishers. We have a project that's been approved in Carmel. There's one underway in Westfield as well. EPCON, unlike maybe some other developers or builders we've seen before, all they do is senior housing. It's all age restricted. I'll let Brooks introduce a little bit about the background, how many years in business, and how they focus solely on the senior market, and how they've designed the reason this is called the courtyards of Fishers is because of the courtyard plan, and that's kind of a unique aspect of it. So Brooks, maybe just take a few minutes, explain the concept, and then we'll open it up for any questions on the architecture.
Sure.
EPCON Communities has been in business since 1986, and one unique thing about our company is, like Steve said, we've solely focused on the empty nester. that entire time. So we have taken a lot of time and effort through surveying our customers, focus groups with that senior group, and making sure we thoroughly understand what they want and need in their home so that they can age in place until they are no longer able to live in a home without some sort of assistance. So from that was born this courtyard concept, right? These people want to enjoy their outdoor living as much as possible with the ability to have privacy. So rather than having that outdoor space off the rear of the home where they're in the infamous fishbowl with everybody looking back at them, observing what they're doing every moment, we've taken advantage of the side yard and this courtyard concept where they have a lot of privacy, but yet we've been able to incorporate a lot of natural light via windows along the side to make the home filled with natural light from the front to the back. One of the other unique things that we do is we're again about aging in place. So when you pull in your driveway, you can get out of your car, you can walk into the home through the garage, through the front door, with a zero step entry and not take any steps up into the home. You can walk throughout your home all the way into your master suite, into the shower even, without taking a step up. So a lot of thought into wider hallways, wider doorways. We offer universal options for those who need that in their home in order to, again, really help these folks be able to live in their home as long as they possibly can. Enjoy the amenities that they want. We take care of the exterior, so we mow the grass, we plow the snow, shovel the walks, all those things. A lot of our clients love to leave their home for a few months a year and go somewhere else so they can lock the door and leave, and they know it's going to get taken care of while they're gone. So that is our sole focus in this empty nester market, and we again do tons of research to make sure that our floor plans are set up to accommodate their needs.
We're happy to answer any questions you have about any of the architectural plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Pete?
Yeah, I think, and I've had the advantage of sitting down with the two of these gentlemen and talking about this project. I think the side yard is awesome. I mean, we've been dealing with these setback issues for a while, and I think it's just a unique thing to these houses that are just remarkable. It's just a great use of land, in my opinion, and kind of takes out that kind of side setback issue that we've had and activates that space in just a terrific way. A couple comments. Steve, do we have a trail going up Southeastern? Is there a dedicated trail going up that way?
Yes, sir.
That's
Yep.
what I thought. And is it bermed at all along Southeastern?
Yep.
Okay.
We have,
That's what I remember. I'm just confirming.
we have landscape. I can't remember right now. I need to look.
Yeah, there's not a berm, but we do have 8 evergreens and 3 shade trees per 100 feet, as well as a horse fence
Okay,
all
'cause,
along
yeah,
Southeastern 100.
Yeah, the pushback we got from across the street neighbors when we looked at this thing before was a lot, and I thought we did a pretty good job with that last one, even though it didn't get approved, to get that done. So good for you guys. You guys have a spot to be. But yeah, my concern is making sure that's buffered along there and make sure Southeastern continues to look good. The only elevation that I have a question with was the first grouping of elevations. You're showing the garage doors with no windows. I'm big on some sort of decorative garage door, putting windows in there. You have them in all the rest of them. I don't think it would be a big ask to put them there or do something there to give me some, just not a flat panel garage door in that first group.
We do offer an option to each one of our clients on every single floor plan and elevation to add windows to that garage door.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the windows or something on the garage door.
Sure, you're equal to that.
I mean,
Yeah.
we can include it if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it gives a decent look to the front rather than a big flat white garage, in my opinion, so
Yeah,
that's
not
just
a
my
problem.
thoughts.
And by the way, you'd asked about on Southeastern and the landscaping. One thing we'll meant to talk about more at the Plan Commission meeting tonight. We did have a meeting with the neighbors, invite anybody who wanted to talk about the project. We had a couple of them who wanted to, including the neighbor right across the street, Mr. Sunderman, you might remember him from last time. And they reviewed everything. We asked them, tell us if there's anything you wanted to change, and they just had some requested changes for the landscaping. And so that's as a red line in the PUD ordinance. We made the change that they asked for, and they're appreciative of that.
Awesome.
So
Thank you. Any other comments from staff members, board members, rather?
I just have one quick comment. I am so thankful that you guys are filling a need. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, just because having not experienced, one of these in person. I think two questions. One, a couple of the photos showed kind of the side yard concept, which I think is a great idea. Is there uniformity to the fences from lot to lot, so that mine is the same as Pete's, and so there's kind of consistency? I don't have a white picket fence, and he has a wrought iron fence, and it's consistent, I assume?
I can just, which exhibit do you want? This, like this? This one? Will this magically change, or, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, there it goes.
There it is.
It does magically change.
Yeah, so one of the things we do is we have, that's a little unique in how we set the homes on the lot, right? So one of the things would cause a little bit of an issue on what you're talking about. If everything was shoved to that front setback, all the backs of the homes would be varying. And if you look at this illustration, all the rears are lined up. So we put everything at the rear setback so that all the rear facades are in a line, and that those fences can connect uniformly across the back.
And it's the same fence?
Same
across the
fence.
entire side. Okay. And then the other question I had is, so between the lots, I assume that like, for example, the one that I'm looking at, the one in the middle, the lot my side yard would be to the right, if I'm looking,
Correct. So if you're on the home that Steve had his pin on, your side yard is to the right.
Okay. And then, so the one to the right of that, what is the configuration of that floor plan relative to windows and things like that, looking out at that space?
Yeah, great question. There are windows on the left side of the home in this illustration, but they are all transoms which are held up high.
Okay.
So they let natural light into the individual's home, but they aren't in a spot where they can see out into the neighbor's
Okay, 'cause
outdoor space.
it's really kind of a two-sided privacy. It's if I'm sitting outside, I don't want someone seeing me.
Exactly.
But if I'm inside, I also don't want someone looking into my
Absolutely.
house. So, okay.
Yep.
Sure.
Just want to make sure that was addressed. Good.
Right.
Good job.
I guess I have one question out of curiosity. I like the concept that the residents can walk from their garage into their house, and there's no, I think you said step up. Curious regarding the bathrooms in terms of the showers, and there's no step up or bathtubs. Any drainage or water issues or flowage regarding that?
No, what we do is we drop the shower. So the floor of the shower is actually recessed from the level of the floor of the rest of the home, and then all the plumbing's underneath the slab. So there aren't any drainage issues there. Everything's sloped appropriately to that center drain.
Thank you. Yeah. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve with the garage door window addition.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is PUD-21-26, Anytime Fitness at Geist Crossing. Seth Nycom with Roger Ward Engineering is requesting approval of the architecture and site design of a one-lot, three-unit commercial tenant development within the Southeast Fishers PUD. The property is generally located east of Oleo Road and north of 96th Street. And we have Ross Hillary once again with the staff to present for us.
Thank you. Again, PUD 21-26, Ross Hillary, City of Fishers. Before you tonight is Anytime Fitness, seeking architectural and site design improvements. Like you said, the petitioner is with Roger Ward Engineering, looking at a 3-tenant commercial space, approximately 0.86 acres. As you said, currently PUD-M, Southeast Fishers, located near the intersection of 96 and Oleo. Here is an overview of the site plan. You'll see here how the building steps back. It is connecting both Visionware Geist Crossing and a Cooper Tire structure right there, so it would be connecting these two buildings. Parking would go along both sides of that existing drive, and you'll see the building here on that site plan. Again, here's another rendering of that overall site plan. Here's the elevations of the building. Elevations include fiber cement trim, natural stone, both with stonework, black storefront windows. They've also showed where signage would be located, but it's not part of the approval tonight. Also signage for the other two tenants located there. You'll see building elevations on all sides, include the masonry and hardy plank. Building elevations on the north side as well with awnings, as well as a parapet cap along the top. We did ask the petitioner to provide an isometric view to kind of help you understand the building a little bit more. Per the Southeast Fishers PUD, all commercial developments must have a combination of a pitched roof, overhang eaves, and/or rooftop restrictions from public view. We did provide the commercial architectural standards in the PUD in the staff report that Jonah put together. We will note that unlike the other developments in the area, this development will not be residential in nature, staff feels, and will not include that pitch roof. Staff is showing here that we believe that it meets the minimum standards of the PUD for consideration. Staff has worked with the petitioner to improve the quality and character of the architecture, even pushing this meeting back to this month. With that, staff does recommend the proposal include multiple gabled pitch roofs that you'll see here, increased masonry coverage along the sidewalls and decorative windows, including the lights that they've shown. Like I said, staff does recommend approval of the project as it meets the minimum requirements, but we're here tonight to show and ask for additional guidance from them and welcome any commitments or approvals that the board may deem necessary. Petitioner is also here to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll hear from the petitioner now.
Hello, for the record, my name is Tara Anker. I'm with Peterson Architecture, the architect for the project. I am here representing Roger Ward Engineering as well, and Hearn Construction for the project Anytime Fitness. Thank you all for having me here tonight to represent everyone. We've been working back and forth with Jonah about the project, and hopefully we've come to a way that Anytime Fitness can represent its own identity in the area while also complementing the adjacent structures and proposed buildings. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments from board members?
On the north side, architecturally, is there any articulation or anything there? And then I would be curious about the materials used throughout the project.
So do you want the floor plan?
Is it all like, so I guess on the north side?
This shows all the step backs, yeah. So the north side.
Okay,
Oh, it's
so
not gonna
that's the
point up
north
there.
side there, or is it?
Okay. Okay, so this side back here faces the parking lot. This is the front of the building here. Due to some budgetary restrictions, we did lessen the detail on the back side of the building. But we still have a lot of changes in material. We have both material depth and we don't go back to the elevations.
Yeah.
And the added canopies to add some detail again. This is the back side of the building where there is a parking lot. We have a canopy here that extends out over. It covers two different doors. There's a side door along this. It steps back in that area. Where we have all this gray on this back side of the building is a painted brick. So it's a gray painted brick wainscot, and then we've got the lap hardy siding. We've got the canopy and the gooseneck light over the back door exit for the Anytime space. And then again, that metal parapet cap that is running around the perimeter of the space.
I think my biggest concern is I feel like all the buildings surrounding that have been approved in the recent history have gone over and above instead of meeting the minimum requirements. And that I just think that's where my concern lies. I'd be curious to hear what the rest of the committee thinks on that.
Yeah, I think, having reviewed the previous projects that were included in the staff report, I guess the concern is that, well, we don't want every building to look the same. We want them to at least look like they belong together, especially in an area that has a lot of residential around it and a lot of residential character. And I guess I'm just concerned, again, kind of like you mentioned, kind of meeting the minimum. Meeting the minimum, I guess it does meet the minimum requirements, but I don't know that it meets what I would expect to see.
Yeah, I don't think we would approve a residential home with the similar north side.
Right.
You know, I think there's gotta be a level of consistency.
Right, from one building to another, I think there's, yeah.
From
And I understand there's,
expectation.
you probably have different needs for an Anytime Fitness than a dentist and
Sure,
things like
of
that. Maybe
course.
you want more clear height, but I think that just architecturally, it doesn't. It looks like it could go anywhere. It doesn't look like it goes there. I guess is the only way I could really put it.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just to talk about kind of the character of this PUD and the surrounding buildings. So the most recently approved buildings in this area would be right next door, the Visionware, which had fully pitched roofs within their design. And then also the vet clinic, which is just north of this site, which was very residential in character. So what we've seen recently in this area is more of a pitched roof. I know that this is a multi-tenant building, so a little bit different than what those developments were, but if what I'm hearing from you guys is correctly, something that aligns more with the character of those more recently approved developments.
Yeah, I would agree, and not to say it should look like another building, because I hate when people tell me that. But I think an example of a building that at least got a little bit closer to that when in trying to match their adjacent buildings was the buildings along 116th Street between Hoosier Road and Brooks School on the north side of the street. There's a couple of, I think there's single tenant buildings that are much more residential in character, and then there's one that is multi-tenant
Yep.
that, well, I don't think that building is great. I think it at least blends in with the other buildings a little
Yep.
bit better from a style standpoint.
And that has a similar actually color,
Yes, it does.
Yes.
like architecturally
color palette,
as
I
this
think.
building.
Yeah.
Pull up the site plan again, if you would. Can we get to the site plan again? This is around the corner from my house. So, so we're looking at the Neil Tire and Auto, that's the Cooper Tire I think we're talking about, right? Isn't it called Neil Tire and Service, I think?
Yes.
Cooper Tire, right?
Yeah.
So then to the west of that would be the vet. I got that right?
It's
The,
north of this building is the vet clinic, but right west.
Oh, I
directly
see,
west-
north of that, I got it, yep. So directly to the west then is, what is that building there?
Vision, where?
Vision, yeah. So it's not really adjacent to, I mean, there's a global self-storage unit just to the east. I mean, which in my opinion has always looked atrocious, but it's along that southern border. I don't really have any issues with the architecture there. I mean, I'm looking at it right now on Google Maps, and you got a big retention pond, you got the vet, you got a parking lot. I get what you guys are saying, and certainly along 116th Street, we were far closer adjacency to residential, where we were getting light questions and trash collection questions that we're not gonna get here. We're just not gonna get it. Just because everything around there, you've got a strip mall out in front, the Shell station, and, can't remember, the Vision Center and the tire shop. I mean, right now, it's a dirt lot. I mean, it just, that whole section down there, I actually think it may add some character to it to get something put in there, quite frankly, and make it look better than what it is now, just from a sheer streetscape as you're going through. And obviously, there's a landscape plan in there too, in the parking lots, like we always do, right? And the lights are there too for the parking lots that we require. right? So I'm not necessarily having an issue with the location, and like I said, it is literally around the corner from my house.
Thanks for your comments. I appreciate all the comments from Emily and Sean. I think I agree with Pete on this one, and I'll give him deference since it's close to his residence.
I think I plowed that road when I was plowing the other day.
So he gets kudo points for me in that
Does say a
regard.
lot.
I gotta drive by it a lot, you know.
I just think the expectation has been set with the newer buildings and the four-sided architecture for the other two buildings that have gone through this committee in the recent history, and I just feel like this doesn't meet the expectations.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to approve. Whether it gets seconded or not approved, I'm not sure, but.
I will second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
No.
Ms. Bowman?
No.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes. So motion does not pass.
So at this point, we could either entertain another motion that we think could carry, or if there isn't able to be a motion tonight, then we would have to wait till next month. We are missing a member, so we would come back next month and either revise the architectural elevations to get others on board, or wait for that final decision.
I move to carry this to the next meeting.
Okay, to continue it?
Yes.
That's the motion on the table?
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes.
So, but I want to make sure I give the petitioner at least some vision here. And I am not an architect, I just work for an architect, okay? So, and I understand budget questions that you have, and I understand what's going on too in the marketplace. So I'm not really sure, you know, how you take essentially what is an industrial building as a fitness center, because that's what they are, okay? They're boxes that they put equipment in, and try to make that backside more architecturally nuanced so that it's residential in flavor. I mean, are we talking about adding like the same pitch gable roof which we see up front and do that out back? Is that what we're requesting? You know, I'm not really sure what that does to your budget. I'm sure it crushes it, but you know, I want to at least give some sort of, you know, we just talking about different articulations. I mean, are we talking about putting canopy out? I don't know. So that I want to try to give them at least something that they can go back to their client with and say, you know, ideas that may cost them a little bit more money but won't kill them. I understand the concerns that we have for sure. I'm just not really sure the solution if we have any here to help. So, anybody ideas? My architect friend over
I
here.
would say architect has some opinions, but I have an opinion
Sure,
too.
yeah.
I think also maybe some renderings that show a little bit more of the 3D elements of the building will help. But also it's very tonal, which is good because the whole building is tonal, but a different color, a different material, a different something to give it just a bit of more interest back there. But I think that Sean's opinions are going to be stronger than mine. So
I guess the concern is that it looks like a box that has stuff added to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a cohesive design. And so I'm not sure how to tell you beyond that, because that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, so maybe an added rendering from the back view
I think
would
renderings
help
would help.
articulate that there are 3 different planes along that back side with canopies as well, that's adding, again, shadow lines and things like that. So another rendering probably would be helpful, but we want to also make sure that we're not, you know, coming back in a month with just a rendering and not changes, if that's not what's needed. So we want to make sure that we're addressing all of your concerns.
windows, something. I don't know
Yeah,
why you would need a window necessarily, but if there's a window you could put in there to bring some interest to the back. There's something is missing for me on that side.
I mean, the issue that you have there with windows, I think, is you've got locker rooms that you're gonna put somewhere typically across the back.
Exactly,
and
usually at the
I'm not
back
really sure we
building.
want windows in locker rooms unless they're transom windows up top.
Transoms?
Right, that may function for it, but I get what these guys are saying, so hopefully we've given you enough to chew on architecturally.
The sides are not the concern. Sides and front are mostly acceptable, correct? It's just really that north elevation that's the main concern.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, but this updated west elevation, I'm okay with that one. The one we got originally, I was not okay with.
Yeah, I think I would take it looks like it's a box that has stuff added to it, and I would expand on that. That's all. That elevation to me looks very flat, and it looks like a canopy's been tacked onto it. It doesn't read 3-dimension to me. So if it is 3-dimension along there, that's great. It doesn't read that way. It reads like it's a flat plane with a canopy added in order to meet the requirements of PUD.
Yeah, Revit will take care of that. Yeah.
So,
And staff can share with you some other multi-tenant buildings that Sean was referencing. That was on 116th Street, just to kind of give you an idea of
That would be
something
great.
that would
Yeah,
be acceptable.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll move to the next agenda item. We do have 3 more left on the agenda. The next matter is,
18 minutes, Howard.
yes,
So,
PUD-21-1, Alderman Otto Seth Nykum of Roger Ward Engineering is requesting PUD committee approval for a commercial building for a car servicing, 6,600 square feet at Alderman Otto. The current zoning is PUD-C, Fisher's Trade Center. The site is located southwest of 141st Street and State Road 37. And we have Bree King here for the staff to present for us.
Thank you for the introduction. The existing land use is already automotive sales. As you can see, this is along 37. To the left, you see the site as it is today, and to the right is the site plan. So you can see the leftover stonework from the mini golf will be changed into a retaining wall as they add more parking in that area. The proposed building will be directly south of the existing building, as you can see on that site plan. This is the existing structure on the property. As you can see, there's the signage with the corrugated metal behind it, and note the colors. These themes will be continued in the new structure. Once again, here is the site plan. The new parking lot will be screened with landscaping, and the additional parking does meet the UDO requirements. Here are the elevations of the proposed structure. This is the north and south elevation. As you can see, the brick is similar color to, or the same color to the primary structure, and there is a subtle difference in the coloration there. The north and south elevation is what is facing the primary structure and the property to the south, not what is facing the public right-of-way. Here's the east elevation. The signage is of course not included and will be applied for under a new permit. There are aluminum extrusions that extend 6 inches over the doors there. Staff does appreciate the glass door frames. We believe it shows a good amount of public interest there. Staff has asked if the overhangs could be extended to 12 inches to meet the UDO requirements for modulation. Here's the west elevation. As you can see, the new Alderman service sign does have that corrugated metal in order to match the primary structure, so it'll fit well with what is existing. This also has the aluminum awnings and the glass doors. Staff does recommend approval of the PUD. We have had suggestions for the following for the north and south elevations. So the addition of a paint stripe or material change along the north and south elevation. We have also requested that the aluminum awnings be extended to 12 inches instead of 6 inches as proposed to meet the requirements of the architectural guidelines referring to modulation in the UDO. We have also potentially suggested working with a local artist to place a mural on the north or south elevation similar to a Jiffy Lube style instead of a paint stripe.
Thank you. We'll hear from the petitioner.
Good
Good evening, everyone. I'm Graham Marshall with Roger Ward Engineering. I'm representing Mike Belay from Belay Architects as well as Brittany Construction. I don't have anything to add, but I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I will note I am the engineer on this project and not the architect, so I'm not sure I can be able to answer all of them, but I'll do my best. So,
Thank you. Board members?
Again, I think it's a good use for it. I love the metal roof, so I don't have any architecture questions for you. I also appreciate the fact that we're walling up along the parking areas on 37. I think the staff comments to add those 3 items, I think, that were added on by staff, if I counted them right. I think there's 3 items.
Yeah,
1, 2,
they're
3.
just suggestions really for you guys, so I would say we're not recommending all of those, but maybe the first 2, so the addition of a paint stripe and then the aluminum awnings, just having those project out a little bit.
Right. I think all those are really good suggestions, quite frankly. I like the mural thing. I like the Jiffy Lube mural thing on either side. I think that looks great, particularly along 37 to differentiate ourselves from our neighbors to the south and north. Yeah, so all in all, I think it's a pretty good use for this particular project.
yeah.
Along with
and,
those comments from staff.
I personally am an artist working in Indianapolis, and I think that that kind of opportunity would actually be great, and I think you would get a really good response. The owner would get a really good response if they were to pursue that, so I definitely think that's something they should do.
Thank you.
I have one, I guess, question. If you could bring up the site plan. So there's garage doors on both east and west, correct? Is there a drive along the east side as well, or is that, it's a little hard to tell from the site plan?
Yes, there's a showroom. There's parking spaces for the cars that are being sold as well as a drive on.
Okay, perfect. I do agree. I think this is a great opportunity to kind of, obviously it was a great opportunity to reimagine the site when Ben and Ari's went out. And I think that orienting this on the east side of the property with the State Road 37 work being done and focusing more of the vehicle orientation to the west is great. So no other comments. I do agree the 12-inch projection of the awnings would be a great idea. And the mural, I guess, I would prefer the mural over a stripe. And I would suggest it go on the south side, not the north side, because it looks like you're pretty close to the building to the north. So I don't think it's going to get a whole lot of visibility to the north. So if that is going to be done, I think it should go on the south side. Nothing else.
Thanks, John. Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with the staff recommendations. And I like Sean's idea. So mural to the south, stripe to the north. So how's that one?
Thank you. I like the succinctness. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes. The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is PUD-22-2 Silver Collection at Saxony. Mike Timko, on behalf of Silver's Companies, requests PUD committee approval for the Silver's Collection at Saxony. Subject site is 12.29 acres and is located to the northeast of Erland Drive in Midden. Dr. Mike Timko of Kimley Horn and Associates is the project engineer, and we have Bree King once again for the staff to present. Thank you.
We are requesting approval of elevations and site design for the Silver Collection at Saxony, which is a 4-apartment building complex, 362 total units, detached garages, mailroom, and a clubhouse. They have already obtained Saxony board approval. You can see this will be located in Saxony. Here's the site plan. There is one minor change since this was first put in the staff report, that the proposed garages directly on the north end will be the garages with the higher architecture. I'll bring this up later on when I have the elevations. But it's important to note with the site plan that those higher visibility garages will have the elevated architecture. Here's the apartment building type 1, their front and side elevations. All proposed architecture meets the minimum requirements of the UDO and the PUD. The color and materials are consistent across all proposed structures. There are balconies, pergolas, and roof modulation in order to add visual interest. This is the rear elevation. You can see the pergola structures as well as the modulation, and the garages face internal. This is the apartment building type 2. It is almost exactly identical, just a difference of the dimensions of the building itself. It still has the modulation, the balconies, as well as the roof interest. Here's the rear elevation, once again, very similar. This is a clubhouse. I just want to point out that signage will require a sign permit and will be reviewed to the PUD and UDO standards at that time. There is quite a bit of roofline modulation, as well as architectural features in the eaves. You can see the color scheme is similar to the apartment buildings, and there is a pergola structure. Another view of the clubhouse here, you can just see those large windows are definitely adding interest. Here's the garage type 1. This will be garages that are internal to the site, not the 2 garages that I pointed out along the street to the north. This is type 2. It has that roof interest there on either side. This is the type that will be along the public facing. This is type 3 for the garages. It is on the internal of the property as well. This is the mailroom. As you can see, very similar in character to the other structures. It has a very similar roof feature, as well as the brick and the color scheme. I have a few images of local architecture so you can get a good feel for what Saxony looks like. And then staff does recommend approval of the PUD 22-2 with the additional requirements of the Saxony Review Board that were already shown on the site plan and response to all TAC comments.
Thank you.
And I do just want to mention that we have the petitioners, they are from Florida. They flew in last Wednesday and then were able to get out right before the snowstorm hit. So we allowed them to call in via Teams. So they are virtual. We typically don't do that for petitioners, but in this case we made an exception. So just wanted to make that note that they are with us virtually via Teams.
Thank you. And that is appropriate. Okay. Will we hear from them? Yeah.
Yes, we also have the project engineer. I don't know if you guys have a presentation prepared or have anything additional to say?
Yeah, just good evening. Just for the record, my name is Alan Fetahagic, civil engineer with Kimley Horn, representing civil companies. And we have on a call in, for some reason I couldn't get on a team, but they were able to call in. I don't know why I couldn't get on teams. And will be there Marko Brakovic, he's with the Silver Companies, Senior Vice President, and Ryan Meeks with Meeks Architecture. So we are very excited to bring this project to the city and here in front of you, and please let us know if you may have any questions, and between Marko and Ryan and me, hopefully we can answer those. Thank you.
Thank you. Board comments?
I think architecturally, I think it looks great. I think it's a nice change from what's in Saxony. I like you can tell that they're from Florida because it has a little bit of a Florida flair to it, which I think is great. I think especially, I think it's relatively in proximity to the beach. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I think it's, yeah, I don't have any. I guess the only question would be regarding the garages. I didn't quite understand I understand the one that has a higher level, but do those doors face the road or do those face internal still?
I can explain that. This is Ryan Meeks, the architect on the project. That these garage doors are facing internal to the development. Those, sorry, it's kind of scrolling through it. I'll wait till it gets to a time point. Yeah, so if you look at the garages on the planned north side of the site, those garages facing the public realm is not the garage doors, but it's the other side of the garages, which we have decorative elements and roof line adjustments. The elevation that was just previously shown is actually the internal elevation of that, which has the garage doors. So all parking is certainly internal to this deal. The whole project was designed to have kind of a nice urban edge with pedestrian access to the sidewalk and kind of a clean urban architecture around the perimeter of the site, and keeping all of the kind of parking internal to the development. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. So the towers that you see are essentially on the north side of the garage.
That's
Perfect.
correct. Yeah.
Perfect. That answered my question. I don't have any other comments.
I think it looks like a great project. I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Yeah, thank you. This is Marco Brakovich. I just want to tell you that the Silver Companies is very excited to be able to do this development in Fishers. And we've spent a lot of time and effort with the architect in Holland to develop a project that we think that you folks will be very pleased with once you see it completed.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes, the motion does carry.
Thank you guys for attending virtually.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, sounds good. We appreciate it. Thank you.
The last item on the agenda is PUD-21-29, Parkside Towns at Saxony, Section 2. Kevin Sumner of Y Engineering on behalf of Lennar is requesting PUD committee approval for a 17-lot townhome development. The current zoning is PUD Saxony. The subject site is located southeast of the intersection of 134th Street and Midden Drive, and Bree King is with us again for the staff. Thank you.
Thankfully, this one should be very easy. So this is the second section of Parkside Towns at Saxony that includes 17 townhome units. As you can see, it is just filling in the vacant portion that Section 1 left. Here you have the site plan. You can see that the 17 new units, the garages will once again face internally on the existing streets, and will have the external will be pedestrian oriented. These are the Section 1 approved elevations for a 3-unit structure. And this is the approved elevations for the 4-unit structure. As you can see, the proposed elevations for Section 2 are identical to what was previously approved. The only change is that there is a 2-unit building that was not in the original Section 1. This architecture is very similar and will include a similar color scheme. Staff does recommend approval of PUD 21-29. I'm here if you have any questions.
Thank you. We'll hear from the petitioner.
Yes, good evening. Tony Begata with Lennar Homes, 11555 North Meridian Street, Suite 400 in Carmel. I won't add anything else. It's just a continuation of what's already built, and we just want to keep going.
Thank you, Tony. Comments from the board?
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Curran?
Yes.
Ms. Bowman?
Yes.
Mr. Stevenson?
Yes, the motion does carry. I believe that's the last thing on our agenda. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.